Call the meeting to order. Next Quail. With great respect and humility that we honor and acknowledge the land of the Snuneymuxw people. The Snuneymuxw people maintain their profound, unique, and spiritual connection to the land through ageless traditions, teachings, stewardship, and expressions of reciprocity. Before we get into the agenda, I'd like to acknowledge that October 20th to 26th is Canadian Down Syndrome Week. A time to explore the importance of social connections toward health and happiness and how societal barriers contribute to social isolation in the Down syndrome. We don't have any items to transfer from open meeting this evening. Are there any additions? I do have one addition, which is a proposal under a new item 16. Which will be a notice of motion. And I'll bring that forward if I get board approval. Also, our presentation that was scheduled for this evening for the Zonta Club has been moved to next month's board meeting. So we'll move that presentation for this evening as well. Any others? Not seeing any. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as intended? Moved by Tom, seconded by Leanna. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes. A suggested motion is that the minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting held on September 25th, 2024 be adopted. With a mover. Moved by Leanna, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Move on to the section 72.3 reports. Under item 8.1, that the section 72.3 report closed Board of Education meeting on September 25th, 2024, and a special closed Board of Education meeting on October 9th, 2024 be received. Someone wanting to move the motion? Tom, seconded by Mark. Thank you. Any discussion? Any discussion? I'll call the question. In favor? Carried. Moving on to item 9, announcements and reminders. We have our Education Committee meeting scheduled for November 6th, 2024. Our Business Committee meeting on November the 13th, 2024, followed by our Board of Education meeting on November 27th, 2024. We also have a statutory holiday on Remembrance Day on November 11th. We'll move on since the presentation will be rescheduled for next month. We'll move on to item number 11 under correspondence. 11.1, we have correspondence from D and A Mahoney. This is the suggested motion there for your consideration. Go ahead, Dan.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68 and Nanaimo Lady Smith refer the correspondence from D&A Mahoney to staff for response.
Okay, seconded. Seconded by Mark. Would you like to motivate the motion, ma'am?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, discussion. Mark?
Thanks, Chair. Having read the correspondence, I would just like to comment that it's very well articulated, some of the data, and I'm very happy with some of the conclusions that the writer came up with, and I was pretty impressed by the detail that was offered. So I'd like to thank the writer for that.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else? Okay, I will call the question then. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to 11.2 with correspondence from C. Peters. Is this that suggested motion?
That the Board of Education of School District number 68 and Nanaimo Lady Smith refer the correspondence from C. Peters to be received and filed.
Thank you. We have a seconder. Seconded by Chantel. Any discussion? Would you like to motivate, Tom? Sorry.
Always happy to follow staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, then I will call the question. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to 11.3, with correspondence from G through 10. I'd like to move motion.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68 Nanaimo Ladysmith refer the correspondence from G. Putin to staff for response.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Banana. Would you like to motivate the motion, Tim? Okay. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor?
And just again, just a reminder that all the responses that dove as a result of board motions will be posted online, and any documents attached, et cetera, are visible to both the public and the board as well of interest.
Thanks for that reminder, Mark. It's helpful. So we'll move on to our committee reports. So I'll start with the business committee. Leanne, I guess before we start here, before you read the first part, I'll just state that by a show of hands, I'd like to confirm that all trustees are in possession of a digital or written copy of the Hammond Bay Elementary School Waterworks District, Rights of Way Bylaw 2024. I'd also like to inform the public that the written bylaw is included in the evening's public agenda on page 34, which is available online. There are also printed copies available in the boardroom. Pass it back to you.
Right, the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, give the School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, Hammond Bay Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, all three readings at one meeting today, this 23rd day of October 2020.
Thank you. You have a seconder? Tom? Would you like to motivate the motion now?
I think this is pretty standard practice. As we see, we have another one this evening, and it's just something we have to do.
Thank you. So just as a proceeding, trustees, that this first part of the first motion requires unanimous consent. If we don't get unanimous consent, then we'll have to ask Mark, perhaps we do less than all three readings, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'll call a question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So if you want to read the first reading, that'd be great.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, adopt the Hammond Bay Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, being a bylaw that provides the City of Nanaimo with right of ways associated with access to a water meter at Hammond Bay Elementary School site pursuant to Section 65.5 of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412. Read the first time this 23rd day of October 2020.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Anna, would you like to move in? Any discussion? Okay, we'll see any discussion. I'll call a question. All in favor? Carried. It's first reading. Did you want to just keep going, or did you want someone else to?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, adopt the Hammond Bay Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, being a bylaw that provides the City of Nanaimo with right of ways associated with access to a water meter at Hammond Bay Elementary School site pursuant to Section 65.5 of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412, for the second time this 23rd day of October 2024.
Seconder? Tim? Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Favor? Carried. Thank you.
Right, that the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, adopt the Hammond Bay Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, being a bylaw that provides the City of Nanaimo with the right of ways associated with access to a water meter at the Hammond Bay Elementary School site pursuant to Section 65.5 of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412, read a third time and adopted this 23rd day of October 2020.
Thank you. Good seconder. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carries. Thank you, everyone. Good job, yeah. One down. One to go. So I'll just start us off and then I'll pass it over to you if that's okay. By show of hands, I would like to confirm that all trustees are in possession of a digital or written copy of the Pleasant Valley Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024. I'd also like to inform the public that written bylaw is included in this evening's public agenda on page 37, which is available online. There are also printed copies available in the boardroom. Again, the show of hands, please. Go ahead.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, give the School District number 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, Pleasant Valley Elementary School Waterworks Rights of Ways Bylaw 2024, all 3 readings at one meeting today, this 23rd day of October 2020.
Seconded by Tom. Just as a reminder, trustees, this motion requires unanimous consent. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, adopt the Pleasant Valley Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, being a bylaw that provides the city of Nanaimo with right of ways associated with access to water, sewage, and drainage works at the Pleasant Valley Elementary School site pursuant to section 65(5) of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412. For the first time, this 23rd day of October 2024.
Seconded. Seconded by Chantel. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, adopt the Pleasant Valley Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, being a bylaw that provides the city of Nanaimo with right of ways associated with access to water, sewage, and drainage works at the Pleasant Valley Elementary School site pursuant to section 65(5) of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412. For the second time this 23rd day of October 2024.
Seconded. Deanna? Any discussion? Discussion, we'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. One more.
That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, adopt the Pleasant Valley Elementary School Waterworks Right of Ways Bylaw 2024, being a bylaw that provides the city of Nanaimo with right of ways associated with access to water, sewage, and drainage works at the Pleasant Valley Elementary School site pursuant to section 65(5) of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412. For the third time and adopted this 23rd day of October 2024.
Thank you very much, Leanne. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks again, Leanne. Lots of reading there. Move on to item 12.2 of the Education Committee, and I'll pass it over to Chantal.
Thanks, Rick. Through you, Chair, if you don't mind, I'd like to pass this to Tanya to read aloud this motion.
Thank you. All right, that the Board of Education of School District number 68, the Nanaimo Lady Smith, direct the superintendent to ensure that going forward, all communications, reports, and website content produced by the district replace the terms special needs, differences, etc. with disabilities/diverse abilities, except where the district is quoting specific legislation, ministerial orders, and or ministerial instruction.
Thank you, Tanya. Do we have a seconder? I think I saw Tom first.
I will notes in right here. And we just wanted to be really clear that, and this was important to me because language really does matter. And I know as a person with a very visible disability, I have all sorts of different terms referred to by. And I think that the disability community has been very clear that disabilities and diverse abilities are the terms that they prefer. And it is important that we respect that. And I think I really truly learned that when I learned about the different terms for Indigenous people, person of Indigenous ancestry, and when I was using a term that was not the correct one, it's just important that whatever the group is, that we identify people the way that they have said they wish to be identified. And this is not meant to be a criticism of staff. It's complicated to remember all these things and to keep it clear all this time. It's just a gesture, I think, of respect that will, I think, show that we're truly committed to everything we've said around diversity, inclusion, and equitable treatment of people. So
Thank you, Tanya. Any discussion? Chantal?
I'd just like to say I'm going to support the motion. Obviously, I guess. And it's not a criticism of anyone. You know, when we learn new language, we start with using that new language, you know, and it's just a progression forward. You know, we're all going to make mistakes, and we're all probably going to, you know, make the mistake of using some of these terms even, you know, a month from now, whatever. But it's just setting that tone, that pace. That, okay, you know what, we're going to try to do better. We know better. We're doing better now. And that's one of the best ways to do that. And, you know, folks with disabilities have the right to identify as they want. And I think we should really still honor that. So if somebody wants to identify special needs or whatever, I think we should still respect and honor that. But as a district, as a board, this is sort of setting that tone of how we move forward. It also aligns with ministry language as well. So get on that path.
Perfect. Great, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing any discussions then, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Yeah. So we'll move on to item 13. Pete, with the trustee presence in schools.
Thank you very much. In my practice as superintendent, I like to use the superintendent's report as an opportunity to highlight something of note or something that I have noticed in the district. And so this evening, I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about trustee presence in the district and schools. And I'd like to begin. Why is this not moving, Karen? I did. I'll push it again. Nope. There we go. I'd like to begin by highlighting our strategic plan, and specifically student and employee wellness. And in this case, I want to talk about increasing the number of employees who feel valued and or engaged. And I think when we think about staff wellness, a critical piece of feeling well or feeling important or feeling valued is to be seen, that somebody notices your contribution and that you feel that you are part of a greater purpose. And we'll see if we get this thing to work. No. Karen's going to do something. There we go. Thank you, Karen. So here's our team. You can take Mark and myself out of there for a moment. But you are a mighty team of 9 people. And when we think sometimes about the size of our district, you think to yourself, well, how much influence do we really have? But I can tell you that the 9 of you make a huge difference in this district. And can you go ahead, please? And what I appreciate is this kind of idea, you know, the power of just showing up. And we often forget about that your presence makes a real and marked difference. And people notice when you just show up. And I'll come back to this in just a moment, but I want to share, some of the evidence. So these are not my words. These are words that I have written down over the last month as I've been visiting all of our schools. We love having our trustee visit our school. Here's the one I like. We feel like the board notices who we are. Our trustees spent time to visit classrooms and talk with staff and play in the kindergarten. We feel important, when our trustee comes to visit. And I want to go back to this notion of just showing, because some of you have the luxury, some of you don't work during the daytime, and you have the luxury of being able to physically be present in schools. Others of you work, and it's more of a challenge. But there are a lot of ways of showing up. So there are special events, but I'll tell you what, if you pick up the phone and you phone a school principal and you say, you know what, I just had 5 minutes of my day and I just wanted to check in and say hello. And I just want you to know that we notice what you are doing, makes a huge and incredible difference. One more, Karen. And I just want you to know that you do make a difference. And I hear it and I see it and I feel it in my conversations when I'm out in schools. Staff members constantly commenting on, you know what, our trustees show up and they care, and I can tell they care. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to share that with you, to reinforce the work that you are doing in staff wellness, and to encourage you to redouble your efforts and get out there and connect and show people that we care about them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete. Any questions? I guess,
Thank you for that. I think it's right up my alley in regards to how my philosophy on education for sure is showing that appreciation to our staff. I think it's so important how far that goes. That's the culture we need to build in our schools, right? Is that care atmosphere, that show appreciation atmosphere. I always tried to do that. I still do that with my job. And I think it just goes a real long way. So I really appreciate the points that you're making there. So that's like, again, that should be all of our, I guess, in regards to the work that we do and what we signed up for basically. But it's good to know that for me being new, that's nice to know that I'm actually allowed to go into schools without, micromanaging and all that stuff, finding that balance between like, oh, you should do this and sit there and bark orders. You can't do that, right? It's more of being an ear and say, wow, that's, I appreciate that. Good job, like that kind of stuff. But again, just finding that balance of not going too far in regards to what you're doing there. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that, Pete. I just want to thank you.
And through the chair to you, Trustee Harris. I think what I wanted to highlight tonight is sometimes it's true for all of us in our work. Sometimes you do things and you think, what, is this really making a difference? Or does this have any effect? Or does anybody notice? But I'm here to tell you, there's incredible resonance when you show up in a school and you pay attention and you listen and you care and you engage. Like it means a lot to our staff.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with the rest of the board and with Pete, the policy committee last week, we had a very close conversation around our policy of recognition of the district. And to me, this fits right into that, we talked about formal recognition in terms of service, but we also talked about how that leadership, that example can set a tone for recognition for people's work throughout the district. And so that recognition becomes something that we do automatically every day, every moment, the same way we would if we were teaching a class. One of the things that, our educators are amazing at is assessment. And what do people need? And, we can provide that just by being there. So I think this is a great tie-in to how the conversations we've had about how to formally recognize staff. And there's always this informal piece that we shouldn't forget. The two go hand in hand. Thank you for the reminder.
Stop. Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on then to item 13.2.
Great, thank you, Chair. And just before introducing it, I just want to point out that the motion, we'll just need to read the second number that says 2324 should read 2425. So they both align to say 2425. So when it's moved, it should be moved that way. So I'm very happy to bring this. We've of course reported this out that we received notification that we were getting funding to support expansion at Chase River in the form of 5 classroom spaces. So the ministry, the same day that announced Chase River, announced a whole bunch of additional across the province. And so one of the things we've done is we actually have gotten a little ahead of this motion, but we're protected because we can take the RFP back if we want. We've actually posted the RFP beside Wellington to give some incentive for someone to be fast. And hopefully we'll have an economy of scale in the bidding for both of those units. So it would be very similar to what we're projecting at Wellington, likely two-story, with the idea of ensuring that we're preserving as much of the land as we possibly can for the project. Not finalized yet, of course. We did a site visit, and Chase, as many of you will be aware, is a fairly limited site, particularly if we want to have the facility close to the school. And of course, the idea is, well, maybe we could take these portables out, but then if we took the portables out, between the time we moved them and then installed the facility there, where we put those students. So the idea is actually to put it adjacent to the portables that exist, not on the blacktop, that can stay. And then we're talking internally a little bit about how we can either apply for playground funding or maybe fit a playground kind of amenity within the budget that we have, which is $5 million. And so we met with the principal on site. Of course, encourage the principal to tell us other things the district or the school could use to kind of make up for the inconvenience of construction happening. So there's some other little improvements we can do. So very, very excited. I will note that we are, by the time we finish this expansion, all it does is replace the portables in place. And if sandstone continues, and if any other growth is happening, those portables might just get eaten right out. Anyway, so we're not immediately intending to move them at this point. We're going to see how things flow. So happy to answer any questions, but in order for us to access the funds, we do need to have an amendment. And I will say, this is never seen a year like this, where if you go to the actual capital plan amendment, so I've got all this handwritten amendments on it, and this will be number 4. And what that means is we didn't make 4 mistakes. What it means is we've got 4 different funding amounts. We've got a new bus, we've got a Wellington expansion, and we got Chase River. So we've got $15 million of support from the ministry since the time that the initial capital plan response center came out. So that's not, I've never seen that before. So we're very happy.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you to the ministry for your support. Are there any questions before we entertain the motion?
No, I'll speak to the motion.
Okay, well, we have to move the motion first.
Okay, well, I can move the motion. Unless there's any questions to staff.
Just a sec, please. Did you have a question first, Chantal?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
It was more of a curiosity question, really, about the modular building and stuff. I'm just thinking about here on the island, and we don't know if the RFP is going to go out, whatever, all that fun stuff. Like, what kind of, I actually don't have a fully formed question, but I'm very curious about who offers that here on the island, right? Because it's a new and expanding industry, obviously, especially since the Ministry of Education announced, that they're going to be doing that. They're going to be funding that throughout the province. I'm just wondering, kind of like, what do we have? Do we have any idea if there are folks here on the island that have the capabilities to do that? Curious. You may not have that
I
information.
do believe that there is island bidders potentially. I don't know for certain. The template that we're envisioning, particularly for Wellington, mimics what Langley did. That is a Lower Mainland company that did that. But however, this is an open bidding process, and so as long as a group can meet our specs. And I will say that the big distinction between what we're doing and the districts we visited is one is kind of a ground level, 1-story. Once a barn, some of them kind of look like barns, but like, whereas we're looking again with the preservation of as much of the land footprint as we can. So it will obviously depend on the product that is available as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so before we entertain the motion, I'll just confirm any more questions. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Chair. That move that the Board of Education approve the amendment to capital bylaw number 2024-2025 CPSD 68-03 to read capital bylaw number 2024-2025 CPSD 68-04, reflecting the Ministry of Education and Child Care's amendment to the annual programs funding agreement.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Chantal? Mark, did you want to motivate the motion?
I'll just say thank you to the ministry for 4 times love and 4 times amendments. Ideally, and I'll take every opportunity as possible to say that I'd like to do a 5th one for NDSS, but that's, we gotta take every opportunity to plug for NDSS. So thank you to staff, thank you to the ministry, and cross your fingers for amendment number 5.
I think that might be more than an amendment, but that's okay. Okay,
I'll take it.
thank you, Mark. Any discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Through you to Mark, I'm wondering, is there any potential for this modular building to come in-house the way we've done with any of our portables that have been working on that way?
Through Chair, given the time and expectation of the expenditure, no.
Okay.
Certainly not for Wellington and not for Chase. We don't know what that looks like in the future. One thing we're watching though is, like this is a new idea. So the background is we're supposed to be doing the civil at the same time. It's getting built somewhere else and then they're going to time it up and install. So we don't necessarily have that expertise in-house yet. We will see though the timing of it all in the expenditure. And so we still think that we could do some stick builds using our own staff in a positive way, but that's not what the funding is intended for. So not in these 2 projects.
And just to follow up, the 4 amendments, that's a lot of work for staff and I know they're happy to do it, but I just want to show my appreciation for that ongoing work.
Scott? Anybody else like to speak? Don't see anybody else, so I'll call the question then. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. So moving on in our agenda, we have nothing under section 14 for unfinished business, nothing under 15 for new business.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I guess it got forgotten. We had said we wanted to do, there was notice of motion.
It's coming.
Okay.
Didn't forget. It's okay. New item 16, which is notice of motion.
Okay.
Just get into it. Thank you. So I'll be bringing a notice of motion to the board for the business committee rather that reads that the Board of Education of School District number 68 Nanaimo Ladysmith amend the policy committee work plan to include the review and update of policy 2.1 role of board. Is that the correct term? Yes. Okay. Let's make sure I got that right. Okay. This is not to be debated today, so it's just notice of motion that this will come to the business committee. Any questions? Okay, so moving on, for information, we have item 16.1, the board motions reports, and 17.1, and 17.2 trustee committee reports for information. Any questions on either of those items? I don't see any, so item 18 is our question period. Do you have any, doesn't like you probably have any questions, but ask us Matthews anyways. No questions this evening, so last item, number 19, is adjournment. Seek a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mark, seconded by Tim. All in favor? Carried. Here, everyone.
Safe Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
You want to